Hello, I'm here today to introduce a new UN Ocean Decade Collaborative Center called the Ocean Climate Solutions and Innovation, to be hosted in the United States, which is currently undergoing its review process with the UNESCO Intergovernmental Ocean Commission. Before diving into the center, I would like to provide some background to better understand the context and purpose of this center. In 2019, a group of US research institutions came together to establish the Ocean Visions, a nonprofit organizations that aim at connecting research institutions to a series of non-academic impact partners with the goal of developing an ecosystem that can accelerate the transformation of science and technology into ocean-based solutions to climate. With the launch of the Ocean Decade, Ocean Visions has teamed up with a series of international partners to expand its impacts and establish a global Ecosystem for Ocean Solutions program, which we refer to as GEOS, which was endorsed in June of 2021 as one of the inaugural programs of the Ocean Decade. The goal of GEOS ecosystem is to break down the silos across sectors and link research, development, and deployment processes within a unified framework. In order to do so, we need to establish a vibrant, multi-sector community that can co-design and deploy equitable, durable, and scalable ocean-based solutions for climate change and the ocean grand challenges. To accomplish this goal, GEOS is organized around three main interacting elements: the GEOS network, which will convene a multi-sector and multidisciplinary ocean solution community; the GEOS task force, which will co-design system-level solutions to the ocean climate grand challenges; and the GEOS innovation engine, which will act to prototype and deploy solutions. Now, central to GEOS and other decade programs that are focused on solution is the process of co-designing system-level, integrated, equitable solutions that have the ability to scale. The concept of system-level solution is an important concept because big challenges like climate warming, ocean acidification, coastal resilience, nutrition and food security are global issues that need to be addressed with the portfolio of integrated and interdependent solution approaches and cannot rely solely on advancing a sustainable blue economy. This requires a significant level of international coordination and synergistic action that is not unique to the GEOS program. To support this co-design process under the decade, we are now launching one of the first thematic Ocean Decade Collaborative Centers on Ocean Climate Solutions and Innovations. The center will be hosted in the US, in Atlanta, and administered through a partnership between Ocean Visions, Georgia Tech, and the Georgia Aquarium, thanks to a very generous gift of the Georgia Aquarium, which will also serve as the physical host for the center located on the last floor of the aquarium building as shown in this photo. Using established method, the center proposes to develop a series of ocean solution roadmaps around central themes of ocean health, climate change, and other priority challenges. So let me explain a few moments what are these ocean solution roadmaps. The roadmaps are intended to catalyze attention and action around the most critical solution priorities. The maps will be developed as a digital product, and here I want to provide an example of technology roadmaps for ocean carbon dioxide removals that were recently released by the Ocean Visions. These span three areas of ocean CDR that include macroalgae cultivation, electrochemical CDR, alkalinity enhancement, as well as two related roadmaps that focus on growing public support for these technology strategies and also expanding investment. Because these roadmaps are digital, they can be regularly updated and refined by the community of practice as advances emerge in science, technology, governance, and policy. Through these roadmaps, scientists, engineers, cultivators, entrepreneurs, investors, philanthropists, and more will be able to collaborate across the globe on challenges and opportunities related to technology development, field testing, governance, finance, and public support for these ocean solution strategies, and all these grounded in evidence-based, precautionary approach towards implementation. Now, by clearly articulating the knowledge and innovation needs and identifying these first-order priorities, the roadmap will play a key role in mobilizing new streams of funding. For example, just recently, the Ocean Visions partnered with Additional Venture to release a $10 million call for proposals to advance the alkalinity enhancement roadmaps. Another important aspect is that the development of these roadmaps involve the scientific communities. and this research community plays a vital role for co-designing, advising, and evaluating pilot projects that aim at demonstrating some of the solution strategies. An example of this is a recent pilot funded by the Grantham Environmental Trust with a community company named Running Tide, who is developing technologies to grow and sink macroalgae. To advance this pilot, Ocean Visions put together a panel of multidisciplinary science experts to advise and design the pilot with a focus on environmental impacts. One of the value proposition of the center is in fact its ability for innovators to be connected and access researchers, existing industries, and investors. This is particularly timely because under the UN decade, the amount of international investors pledging large capitals for ocean and climate solution is growing every day. Just a few months ago at the COP26, a new $10.5 billion fund was announced by the Global Energy Alliance and had a focus on the Global South. If agreed by the programs, this roadmap approach could be the initial framework to co-design and articulate a shared vision for solving key ocean climate challenges at a more systemic level. Here are some examples of roadmap proposals for different areas spanning from ocean-based solution to carbon dioxide removal to developing equitable solution technologies and strategies for climate adaptation of coastal systems and communities, to building a climate-resilient food system, sustainable circular economy, and ultimately to address the issues of climate justice and equity. Ideally, programs will take the lead and ownership on specific roadmaps. We anticipate three main uses of the roadmaps. The first one, as mentioned before, is to mobilize support and social change for key solution strategies and ultimately unlock new funding, including that from the Decade Alliance, which is essentially a group of funders that have come together and pledged to support the Ocean Decade. The second is to activate the global innovation startup and industry ecosystem by providing a blueprint of the critical innovation need. The center will likely host the headquarters of the 1000 Ocean Startup, a global coalition of accelerator and venture funds that have pledged to develop 1000 startups for the Ocean Decade. Relevant to the center and programs, the 1000 Ocean Startup is currently working on developing a set of key performance metrics, also known as KPIs, that will measure how new startup and solution-focused industries are impacting positively environmental metrics that go beyond the simple measurement of equity. These metrics include carbon reduction, enhancement of sustainable ecosystem services, reduction of pollution, and coastal resilience, and so forth. The third use is to inform the call for action of the UN Ocean Decade and lead to new programs and projects that address solution priorities. However, this is an iterative process, and as new decade actions are initiated, the center will provide the support to coordinate and co-develop shared goals and synergies across the new programs and projects, for example, through ideation and capacity building events. The center will also engage and convene the community of practice that are hosted under the Ocean Decade Stakeholder Forum in the co-design of ocean solution roadmaps. The endorsed program by design play a critical role in this engine. Specifically, the center will establish support systems that allow for programs network to come together and organize ideation or capacity building events that aim at developing solutions agendas that are truly reflective of diverse and underserved stakeholders. Second, the center may play a support role in a series of expert working groups from the programs that focus on advancing and implementing targeted roadmaps that are aligned with the program's missions. And third, programs will be able to use these roadmaps to inform the development of new projects and also to keep track of their progress. Together, this engine schematic is designed to look like a heart, and hopefully a heart that is pumping the vital energy to support the health, ocean, and healthy climate. However, there are several practical challenges that need to be addressed. One of the primary mandates of the center is to serve as an extension of the Decade Coordination Unit and provide support for the endorsed program. As you know, the first set of global endorsed programs were launched without adequate funding to support their efforts. Centers like this one are not meant and cannot provide the core funding needs of each program. However, the center can implement processes like the road mapping and others to be discussed that aim at mobilizing new funding for the program activities and for developing a set of shared resources that can advance the program's operation and coordination. Identifying a set of shared resources that are best suited to support the programs and other relevant decade action is one of the center's first priority. Just last week, UNESCO organized a call with the leads of 15 endorsed programs that may be assigned to the center or have a work scope that is aligned with the center's mission. Of these, at least 8 of them are led by US institutions. Moving forward, as the center is officially announced by the UN Ocean Decade, we plan to continue this process of engagement to identify near-term support system for the programs. Before closing, I want to briefly show the current governance model of the center, which includes an executive council with equal representation for the 3 main partners, Georgia Tech, Ocean Visions, and the Georgia Aquarium. And below this, there's an executive council for the center with the center director and staff, and 2 advisory bodies. One is the Decade Program Committee, made of representatives of the programs that are affiliated with the center, and the other one is an advisory board with other key partners such as NOAA. And with this, I want to thank you for your time and attention. I'm happy to take some questions and have a discussion.